Exactly.
Skip a day.
And it's rare anyway. Yeah.
And speaking of perfect conditions, when I mentioned earlier, I said we were going to get into it a little more. Why do I think that Dahab is the best place to learn to dive? Well, we're in the Gulf of Aqaba. So on top of the visibility being spectacular 360 days a year, the temperature is relatively warm because we're not depending on a boat to pick us up or schedule. It doesn't matter. We can get in the water, we can stand there, we have swimming pool-like conditions, which is what we're expected to have when we're teaching.
Yeah.
So no one's going to take you in to do this experience when it's nuts or there's a south. No. We want swimming pool-like conditions, meaning you can see me very clearly, and we have that almost the entire year.
Yeah.
And we can stand right there on the sand and work. There's no schedule, there's nobody pushing us. The learning just becomes more focused on the student and less on my needs of getting back on the boat to the dive center on time. I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
I can do a mask skill with you again if you're like, I want to try it again, or I want to, no problem. And that's why I think it's one of the best places to learn.
Sure, so you swim in and you start from the shore again. Because with inexperienced divers, you always start from the bottom where you could stand, and then gradually you work deeper.
Especially for the beginners, when you start your diving in Dahab, you see so much
Yes.
from the get-go.
Yes.
You can see turtles, you can see so many other things right from your open water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then when you're more experienced diver and you want to experience more or more difficult conditions, it gives you the perfect kind of base when you learn it here in easy conditions, and then you can gradually start going into more difficult diving. And you can find all that in Red Sea too.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome. We're going to have a special experience today. I'm Trisha, and I'm going to be the visiting instructor for today. What does that mean? That I have Annet with me. She's actually going to do Discover Scuba Diving today. This is the first time she's doing this course, so you're actually going to get to be a part of that and see the experience exactly as it's going to go down. And like I said, I'm a visiting instructor here, and we're going to work with H2O divers today. That means we're working under the supervision of a local person who has a CDWS license. Really looking forward to it. And also, just as another note, we have Herman here. And Herman's going to be filming the underwater portion. So that's really exciting. He's also a dive instructor. He knows exactly what we're going to do. So he's going to participate today. And myself as the instructor, I don't make any films or do anything while I'm working with a student underwater. It's very important. So just in case you guys are wondering how we're doing this, that's how we're going to go about it today. So welcome. We're going to do a quick introduction for the day, and then we're going to do a detailed dive briefing, and then we're going to get in the water and see what happens. Yay. So, yay! So remember yesterday we talked about the skills. We do them for safety. Meaning, if you have a small problem underwater, you are able to solve that problem without going to the surface underwater. So we practice this in water that's shallow enough that we can stand up in case we feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not moving any deeper until you're feeling confident. Okay? And we're going to get into a nice kind of diver looking position. So it's almost like we're laying near the ground, but we're going to just be floating above it just a little bit. And the first thing we're going to do is clear the regulator. So if I break contact with my reg underwater, it fills with water just a little bit in the mouthpiece area, this part, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'll simulate that problem by taking the reg out, putting the reg back in, clearing it, and then saying that I'm okay.
Hello.
Blow bubbles?
Yeah. Blow bubbles.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Why am I blowing bubbles?
That's to show that you're letting the air out.
Showing that I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So I'm going to take the reg out, blow little tiny bubbles. I'm going to put the reg back in and clear the water out for regulator recovery. So instead of just clearing it, now we're going to recover it, then clear it. Okay,
But
so
that's definitely a scary skill, I think, like this one. This is like,
You'll see it's super easy when you
Oh,
do.
the clearing the regulator, and if you know if there's water in your mouth or not, because when you put your regulator in, you're gonna feel there's some water in your mouth, so naturally you want to get it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's like instinctive where now you're
Totally.
like,
Okay, so how am I going to do that? I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to clear a partially filled mask, okay? And you're going to go, okay. So I'm going to show you and I'm going to just fill it just a little bit with water. So we'll come out really nice and easy. We'll take our kit off here, rinse it off, and then we'll talk about the dive. And we might go over to the fish book and I'll show you some of the fun things that we saw. We'll fill out your logbook to log that you've had a dive. And that's everything. So that was my massive detailed briefing. Do you feel like you have a picture of it step by step? Yes. Okay. Any questions? Diving! Let's go over. Yes! Oh. Yay!
See you later. See you later.
Yeah. How was it? Ask in the diving center.
Oh my goodness, that was so much fun.
That was awesome.
We saw so many things.
I know. That was
Moray
cool to see
eel.
those eggs.
Hi. We had fun.
Saw the little fish eggs.
You saw, okay.
Whole cluster of them.
I've never been able to show clownfish eggs to a DSD. Never. Okay.
That was really cool.
That was-
I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to show me. Some dirty brown.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Yes, Stevie, so you're welcome to do an additional dive with no class if you want, like Thursday or whenever we can fit it in. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
So you go with none of the long briefing and you get more of a feel of just get in, relax, get out.
Are you gonna take her into diving?
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
I thought it's only for Dahab Live.
You never know where these things lead. Oh.